In this particular video we will solve the example, or we will solve a problem for FCFS. FCFS is nothing but first come first serve. The mode is non-preemptive. Non-preemptive is nothing but once the process has arrived to CPU, until and unless it finishes its work, it won't allow any other process to execute. Okay, so there are some data here. So there are some processes which is nothing but process 1, process 2, process 3, process 4, process 5. There are total 5 process. Okay, now AT is nothing but arrival time. So arrival time means at what time the process has arrived. So arrival time of P1 is 0 unit, or arrival time of P2 is 1, or arrival time of P3 is 2. Fine. Now there is something called BT, or burst time. Okay, burst time means so how much time unit a particular process has taken for the execution. That is the meaning. Okay, so burst time is nothing but, so say for example P1 requires 4 unit of time for the execution, or P4 requires 2 unit of time for the execution. That is the meaning. Okay, so ultimately it is something like there will be some pool. So inside the pool there will be processes like P1, P2, P3 and so on. So you can imagine something like this. Okay, you have one more concept called Gantt chart. GANTTCHART. Okay, so based on the Gantt chart only we can visualize the concept of entire problem. Okay, now how to write the Gantt chart? It is something like queue itself. You don't need to put much effort to understand this. It is something like queue only. Fine. Now which is the first process which has arrived? So P1 is the first process. Okay, P1, you have to write P1. Fine, it is the first process. At what time it has arrived? At 0th time. So from 0th time only P1 has arrived and it has taken the CPU. Fine. What is the actual time, or how much time it requires for the execution? It is nothing but 4. So P1 finishes at 4. It will take 4 units to execute or finish. Okay, what is the next process? It is nothing but P2. So P2 has arrived for the queue. Now P2, how much time it will take? It takes 3 units. Fine. So 3 units is nothing but 4 plus 3. It will take total at 7 minutes or 7 unit. The P2 will be finishing its work. Now what is the third process? It is nothing but P3. So how much time it will take? It will take 1 unit. 7 plus 1, 8. What is the next process? P4. What is the burst time, or how much time it will take? It will take 2 units. So 8 plus 2, 10. What is the next process? P5. So how much time it will take? 5 units. So 10 plus 5, 15. Fine. Now all the process we have written in the Gantt chart. So this is the overall idea at what time the process comes and how much time it will take for the execution. Okay, by looking at this we can see, or we can calculate the concept of completion time. Okay, or CT. Okay, I have in the previous slide I have given some terminologies. You can go through it for the better understanding. CT is nothing but completion time. So at what time P1 has completed? Completed at 4, isn't it? At what time P2 has completed? At 7. At what time P3 has completed? 8. P4, 10. P5, 15. Fine. So this is the completion time of the respective processes. Fine. Now once we get this much data, we can calculate TAT, or turn around time. Okay, so I have given a formula to calculate turnaround time in a previous slide. You can go through it and you can check. So it is nothing but CT minus AT. Correct? Completion time minus arrival time. The difference between CT and AT will give the TAT, or turnaround time. Fine. So what is the difference? 4, 7 minus 1, 6, 8 minus 2, 6, 10 minus 3, 7, 15 minus 4, 11. So ultimately you get the turnaround time for the particular processes. Okay, fine. Now once we receive this, we can calculate the concept of waiting time, or WT. So what do you mean by waiting time? So waiting time means whenever the process has arrived for the CPU, Now if you don't, if the process don't have the concept of IO wait, or if the process don't require input output wait, then it will be in at least in two mode. Either it will be in execution mode with the help of CPU, or it will be in a ready queue, for it will be waiting for the execution. Only those two modes can be possible for any process. Fine. Now, so to calculate WT or waiting time, how can we calculate the waiting time? So again, there is a formula that is nothing but TAT, difference between TAT and BT, or turnaround time and burst time. Fine. Now, what is the difference between turnaround time and burst time? 4 minus 4, 0, 6 minus 3, 3, 6 minus 1, 5, 7 minus 2, again 5, 11 minus 5, which is nothing but 6, isn't it? Fine. So these are the concept of waiting time. Now you can visualize, once you get this waiting time, now you have to check whether the answer is correct or not, isn't it? You have to cross verify it. Okay, now how to cross verify, we will see here. So P1, at what time, what is the arrival time of P1? It is 0. So P1 has arrived at 0, and directly it is given with the execution, or it will be sent to the CPU. So whether the P1 has to wait? No, P1 doesn't require to wait. It directly given with the CPU time. So waiting time will be 0. Now at what time P2 has arrived? P2 has arrived at 1 unit, but it has started at 4th unit, isn't it? Correct. So because P1 required 4 unit of time for the execution, so even though P2 has arrived at 1, so but it has given the execution at 4. So what is the difference between 1 and 4 and 1? It is 3. So P2 has to wait 3 unit of time for the CPU, isn't it? Now at what time P3 has arrived? At 2, but at what time P3 has given with the CPU's time? So at 7. What's the difference between 2 and 7? It is 5. So P3 has to wait 5 unit of time for the CPU. Okay, it is all these units. Okay, so at what time it has arrived, and at what time it was given with the CPU, CPU execution, or the process has sent to the CPU for the execution. Fine. Now at what time P4 or process 4 has arrived? At 3. At what time it has given? So P4 started at 8. So what is the difference? 8 and 3. So again it is 5. So P4 has to wait 5 units for the execution, or to start the execution. Fine. Now P5 arrived at 4. Now at what time it has started? At 10. So difference is 6. So P5 has to wait 6 units for the for starting the execution in CPU. Fine. So you can see the waiting time, how to calculate the waiting time. Now there can be a question like calculate the average waiting time. If that is the case, then you have to add up all these waiting time concept, and you have to divide it by 5. Why 5? So there are 5 process, so you have to that is a general step how to calculate the average. So add up all this data, divide by 5. That is nothing but 0 plus 3 plus 5 plus 5 plus 6 by 5. Whatever the answer you get, that will be average waiting time, or AWT. Now if you want to calculate, if the question is like calculate the average turnaround time, again the same concept, add up all this turnaround time data and divide it by 5. So that means add up all the data, divided by number of processes available in the problem. That is how you can calculate the average turnaround time, or average waiting time. Fine. Now the question may be like calculate at what time process 4 has completed its execution. So if that is the case, then you have to write the answer as 10, isn't it? P4 has completed its execution at 10. Isn't it? So such kind of questions can be asked. Okay, so based on using the Gantt chart, you can reconstruct the entire table by looking at it. So usually you will be given with the process number, arrival time, and burst time. Fine. So once you get this formula, once you understand this formula, you can automatically you can get the idea of it, isn't it? Correct. So this is how you can construct the table, and you can calculate the this particular problem. But ultimately you have to understand that, you have to remember the formula. So for TAT, it is nothing but CT minus AT that is nothing but completion time minus arrival time. For CT or WT for waiting time, it is nothing but TAT minus BT. So you have to remember this formula. Based on this formula only you can calculate everything. So you can calculate AWT or average waiting time, you can calculate ATAT, that is nothing average turnaround time. Fine. So question may be like anything, but this is the actual idea of solving the particular problems with respect to FCFS or first come first serve. Fine. So I have used some short forms, but abbreviation is given in the slides. You can see there are some terminologies. I have given the heading as terminologies involved in CPU scheduling. So you can go through it and you can see it in the previous video. It will be available. So there is one more difference. So say something like, say for example, the arrival time of P3 is 8 and arrival time of P4 is 3, means you have to rearrange here, isn't it? So after P1 P2 directly P4 will come and after P3 will come. So based on the arrival time you have to take the Gantt chart. So I will solve one more example so that you can get the better idea. One more example, so we will see how exactly we can solve. So this example is again for FCFS non-preemptive. Okay, non-preemptive. Fine. FCFS is nothing but first come first serve. So again we can solve this by constructing Gantt chart. So let us create the Gantt chart. Fine. Now what is the arrival time of P1? There are three processes exactly in this particular example. So P1, P2, P3, and arrival time of P1 is 0, arrival time of P2 is 3, and arrival time of P3 is 5. And burst time for P1 is 2 units, 2, and burst time for P2 is 1, burst time for P3 is 6. Fine. Now what is the first process which has arrived? It is nothing but P1. At what time? At 0. Fine. Now how much time it takes to execute P1? It takes 2 units. Fine. So it is nothing but 2. You can write 2 here. Now what is the next process? Next process is P2, but what is the arrival time? It is 3, isn't it? Now the completion time was 2, but the P2 is coming at the time 3. Now what the CPU has to do? CPU has to wait, isn't it? CPU will be in idle state because it doesn't require, it doesn't have the process to execute. So now there will be one slot which will be wasted here. Don't you think like that? So this slot will be empty because you don't have anything to execute here. So this is a Gantt chart. You have to write this Gantt chart. Fine. Now at what time P2 will arrive? P2 will arrive at 3. So now at 3 the P2 has arrived. Fine. What is the completion time? What is the burst time of P2? So it is 1 unit. So 3 plus 1, it is 4. Fine. Now P2 has completed its execution at 4. Now what is the arrival time of P3? It is 5. Okay. Now CPU has finished P2 at 4, but the next process which will come at 5. Now again there will be one more slot which will be empty. CPU will not be having any work for the execution. So next process will be P3. At what time it will be arrive? It will arrive at 5. Fine. Now what is the burst time for P3? So it will take 6 units. 5 plus 6 is nothing but 11. Okay, so this is a somewhat different example which I have taken, and such kind of examples are available in the internet. You can take, you can see the examples and you can try to solve. If you get any doubt, you can get back to me. Okay, now while looking at this Gantt chart, can we construct the rest of the concepts, or can we get the rest of the data? So how to see the how to get the CT or completion time? What is the completion time of P1? It is 2. What is the completion time of P2? It is nothing but 4. Yes, 4. And what is the completion time of P3? It is 11. Fine. So this is the data for completion time. Now how to get the turnaround time? The formula remains same, CT minus AT. So it is nothing but 2, 1, 6. Fine. Now can you see, so BT and TAT are same, isn't it? Now this will directly affect the waiting time, isn't it? So how to calculate waiting time or WT? It is nothing but TAT minus BAT, or the difference between turnaround time and burst time. So waiting time will be 0. Now why it is 0? Because no process has waited here, isn't it? As soon as P1 has arrived, it has executed. As soon as P2 has arrived, it has executed. As soon as P3 has arrived, P3 has executed, because there was a gap or slot which where CPU did not have any work for the process, or CPU was not handling any process at that time, isn't it? So the process has to wait whenever already the CPU is busy with some other process. But in this case, CPU was free, or it was idle, isn't it? It was not having any work for the for the execution, and that is the reason why the concept of waiting time will be 0, because the turnaround time and burst time are same. Fine. So such kind of examples can be asked based on the data given. So you given in the question, based on that you can construct the Gantt chart. Once you construct the Gantt chart, you can fill up rest of the details, and you can check the answer is correct or not, or the whatever the waiting time you have received is correct or not. So at what time P1 has arrived? At 0. And it has finished at 2. At what time P2 has arrived? At 3. Now obviously CPU was free, so directly it has given P2 for the execution. Now it has taken the P2 for the execution and it has completed unit 4. Now at what time P3 has arrived? At 5. Obviously CPU was again, it was free, and directly as soon as P3 has arrived, CPU has taken it for the execution. So no process has waited for its execution. So that is the reason why average waiting, the waiting time was 0. So obviously average waiting time also 0 itself. You don't need to calculate anything. But if the question is like calculate the average waiting turnaround time, then definitely it is, you have to add up all this data, divide by 3, because total number of processes is 3. So 2 plus 1 plus 6 by 3. So whatever the answer you get, that is nothing but ATAT. Okay, now AWT is nothing but 0, because all the data is 0 here. So average waiting time is 0. So this is one more example, one more idea. So it is nothing but this example is for FCFS and non-preemptive one. The mode is non-preemptive one. Okay, so you can take some other example also, try to solve it. If you get any doubt, you can get back to me. Fine. Thanks for watching.